Hello there, a very good evening to you and welcome to One on One here on Metro TV. I am Bright, Nanakwesi Aminin, and we are coming to you from our usual studio here at North Ridge on the number 20 Dr. Iset Street. My guest tonight is a former director of GIFEC and also a former member of NCA and also an active member of the MPP, someone who was an active member of the Bawumia campaign team focusing on the Eastern region. Prince Sefah is my guest here tonight. After this break, we'll be talking. Stay with me. Welcome back. So GIFEC is Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications. And former director joins me here tonight on the program. Prince Sefah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Bright.
I really appreciate it.
You.
And you were also a member, very active member of the Bawumia campaign team in the Eastern region.
Yes, I was.
Your flag bearer, Dr.
Yes.
Bawumia, wanted a big gap. What happened in the Eastern region?
Eastern region, it actually went relatively well for us.
Relatively?
Relatively. I mean, obviously, it's not a secret that the MPP didn't get the result that even the NDC thought it would have. So Ghanaians were all surprised by the outcome of the last election, and the MPP was no exception. But having said that, if you look at the Eastern region, we have a very dynamic team led by my own brother, Jeff Kunedu, who was a former CEO of NITA, and someone who is a very experienced politician. We went from 25 parliamentary seats down to 24, and that was the best in the whole country in terms of the parliamentary performance
in the Eastern region?
For Ghana. For all of Ghana.
Right.
I don't believe there was any region that did better than that, going from 25 to just a net loss of 1 for the MPP. I mean, again, that's not anything to be so proud about, but it was a better performance than in many places. The popular vote gap was about 50,000. Or so, at least that I can recall. It wasn't the greatest, but again, at least we, from the MPP, we won the region still. And so all those things are positives that we can be proud of. We did a lot of work to make that happen, especially the parliamentary seat performance. We put in a lot of work. I was an active part of it, so I know exactly how we went about it. It was not easy because the tide in many ways was against the MPP.
You knew that ahead of the elections? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't want to get into some of that. But what I know is that the outcome, which we're all witnesses, showed that obviously the tide was not in our favor. So, but when you compare, you look at President Kufuor in 1996, he only won Ashanti region. This time around, we were at least able to get 3 regions, and that included the Eastern region. So we were still proud of the work that we put in. Yeah.
Already, I mean, it's not even a year after elections, but some party members of the NDP are already calling for a new face. I mean, Dr. Mombo shouldn't come back. Names like MP, Dr. Kennedy, Japan has all come up and all that. Is it the right time to start making selections and pointing fingers as to who should lead the party in the next elections?
It's yes and no. Yes, because obviously we just came out of elections.
Right.
No, because we just came out of elections, right? So people, this is a very democratic party. And so people saying that they want a new candidate, or some also want to maintain the candidate that we have. All those things are very, very natural for us in a democratic party. That's how we always do it. We've never had a situation where any candidate was imposed. There are times people use words like an imposition and so on, but I don't believe that. I believe in our party we've always chosen a candidate based on the system that we have, and every one of our flag bearers, with their strengths and their weaknesses, have been so chosen by the good delegates that we have. You know, so they will do the same thing. So people are free. Some think we need a new candidate. That's fair. Some think that we should continue with the previous candidate. We probably.
But what do you think?
What do I think?
Yes.
Oh, for me personally, I think generally, all right, repeating a candidate is a good thing in Ghana. That's how our political culture has been. So for now, I will go with what has been. I'm a relatively conventional person. But we will see what the delegates think, and we will always respect that as well.
I mean, one of the big names, the big posters who made, who give us hint ahead of time was Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics. A research that the MPP continuously debunked. I mean, they had their own research from Smart Sapon also saying that it was going for the government and all that here and there. Now, let's speak about this. He was here on Good Evening Ghana just about days ago.
I see.
And
I
Mr. Dankwa.
Right.
And he stated that it may take the MPP, hopefully, or maybe, 2 extra elections. That is like 8 years before they recover from their loss.
Musa Dankwa is prides himself of being a pollster, right? That's how he has made his name. And I wonder on what polls he was able to use to determine how long it would take the MPP to return to power.
Not necessarily returning, but maybe recovering before you can think of returning.
Fine. To recover, to return, what have you. I'm wondering what data informed that decision. I don't think he's done any such study to find out how long it's going to take the MPP to recover. So that's his opinion, and we'll respect that.
All right. Anyways, let me talk to you about your work at GIFEC. I mean, how long were you there?
I was at GIFEC for close to 3 years. Previous to that, I was a little over 4 years at the NCA as the deputy DG in charge of operations. So the work I did there obviously spoke for itself, and must have impressed the appointers, and that's how I got a promotion, which was rare in our government, because the government very much prided itself on experience and so on. But I was honored to have a promotion to move over to GIFEC. It was a new environment for me, and I took my time to try and impact, because these were all life's passion for me. My whole life, as far as I can remember, since maybe about 10 years old, I had always known that I wanted to get into public service. The reason why I wanted to be in public service was because, being the son of a pastor, I saw the impact that pastors had on their congregants. So I grew up in that environment. But then I thought that when I looked around, even beyond the church, there were so many people that really needed to be lifted up. And I thought that the only place, or one of the sure places where you could lift up as many people, was through public service to the people, helping to impact in whichever opportunity, in whichever way. So I had always wanted to, because I looked at the church and I said, okay, it's a great place where you can really help people grow spiritually, grow well, but in public service, you could even help more people to uplift their own lives even more on a grander scale than one particular church may do.
But you left.
So,
What prompted that? Why
I
did
left
you leave?
where?
Yeah, Gifek.
Oh, I left GIFEC because at some point my appointment was terminated by the minister, and that's a matter of public record. When I've thought through this, because I don't like to discuss it too much, so I thought through this before coming here, and it occurred to me that because often there's speculation when someone leaves a post.
Yeah.
And so people speculate and all that. But people leave positions for various reasons.
What was the reason why
So
your
let me
appointment
if I
was
could
terminated?
just-
Yes.
Yeah. So people could leave for reasons of malfeasance. People could leave for reasons of indiscipline. People could leave for disagreement with their superiors. People could leave because they are not aligned with their leadership one way or the other. There are many reasons. I'm sure you can easily come up with about 10 for which reasons people could leave. I don't want to discuss why I left specifically, but I can also assure you, just as I did when I left at GIFEC and I informed the staff, there was not even an accusation of malfeasance, okay? There was never any issue, and those are matters of record. There's no issue of indiscipline in terms of insubordination or any of those. The appointer decided at that time that they wanted a change, and it was up to them. I don't want to discuss that too much.
What one legacy would you say that you may have left at Gifek that you are proud of?
Oh, I am proud of quite a few things. Specifically, I would say that we even got accolades from the PAC. That's the Public Accounts Committee. For GIFEC's prudence in fiscal, as in fiduciary management of the public funds. All right. So by the time I left GIFEC, I will leave the specific amounts out in order not to bring any undue attention to anyone. But the fact is that under my tenure, revenues increased twice over. Okay, so I was able to achieve a doubling of our revenue stream.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to mention the figure, but if you can
That's
give us,
what I'm just saying.
if you can give us
I
what the
will
previous
give you-
was,
I will give you that.
We may be able to
That-
do our own calculations.
It doesn't matter. You guys are good at mathematics, so I'm not going to give you the amount, just to keep it a bit simple. But I was able to work with the board to increase revenues twice over. I was also able to quadruple our cash flow, okay, under my tenure. And then I was also able to keep administrative cost pretty much flatline without increases. Our staff strength and the cost and everything was pretty much stable throughout, meaning that we're able to do a lot of this with and the productivity that we achieved with a stable administrative cost. So we even got accolades as a very fiscally responsible organization from the PAC, which usually is adversarial, right? Because the PAC is usually controlled by or chaired by the members of the opposition party. And we were able to achieve all those things. And then we're able to do some critical investments. I would say that the final aspect to what I did at GIFEC was to not just run the operations as well, but for me, as someone who is also an HR person, as I am an IT person, when you go into an organization, you need to take time to understand the needs of the organization and then make sure that your leadership reflects what that organization needs. You don't go in with too much preconceived notions. You may have some philosophical bent, you may have some worldview and other framework that you take in, but you need to put that to the test of what the organization needs. So you take time to understand what is actually there, and then you fashion. So you go to GIFEC, as at the time that I went there, it was very much a maturing organization that was just about 20 years old at the time.
I mean, 20 years old is matured.
In terms
Isn't
of
it?
corporate governance, I think when you look at all the permutations of how corporations work, that was very much a maturing organization.
It doesn't matter the years?
It matters, so you're 20, right? You're 20, you are coming off your teenage years, you're now beginning to get your own house or your own apartment, I should say. You are trying to have some healthy relationships and other things, trying to get a job and so on. That's the state that GIFEC was in. So as a maturing organization, there were specific needs that the organization had in terms of its the equipment and the tools it needed to be a very productive, high-performing organization. It needed certain changes in its structure and so on. Because when you start something, you're usually starting and you need to just get going.
Yeah.
All right? Like a kid, you need to just know how to crawl, how to eventually walk and speak and so on. But then at some point you go beyond that, and then now you need to do all these mature things, as I was mentioning, rent your place, get a job and so on. That's the state that I believe I went to meet GIFEC. So it needed certain things with its HR structure, organizational structure, fleet management and other things. I went there and I believe that I did as well as I could to try and solve GIFEC's problem, which was very much structural issues that was necessary for a maturing organization. We worked on that on a very aggressive basis.
I know that the big question here may be, I mean, you had all these accolades, you made all these achievements. Why termination of contract? Even though you've mentioned you don't want to speak about it, I mean, I know these are some questions that will be on the minds of our viewers.
When I was appointed, right, as much as I thought that I did a good job at NCA and that merited, I was one of the few people that got a promotion in the government at the time, from a deputy to a substantive position. I was not told what the reasons were, right? I wasn't told.
When you were promoted,
yes.
You weren't told what the reasons were?
I wasn't.
Could you be based on your party affiliation?
Political appointment is what it is. You are appointed by an appointer who see what it is that they want out of you.
And not necessarily because of your knowledge or know-how.
It could be anything. It could be the competence. It could be a combination. You would think that all those things factor in. But it's a political appointment. So as some people say, that the appointer appoints, right, and disappoints. So at some point, some few months before the end of the last government, right, I was to make way for my deputy, who took on that role. It could be anything.
And was it the appointer who also...
I just don't want to get into it.
And was it also the appointer who also asked you to channel your energy towards the campaign of Dr. Mbamia? Or that was your personal decision?
You know, I just don't want to discuss beyond. All I'm telling your viewers is that there was not even an accusation of malfeasance. There was not an accusation of wrongdoing, and all those are very clear. They are matters of record. I wasn't under any investigation because in our country, often, that's the speculation that you've done something wrong. I just want to assure everyone that was...
I mean, if somebody should think that, they may be right, because there should be an issue that may lead to a termination of contract. You can't just be in office and one day you wake up and you're told, you have to go.
I hear you. And I hear all the speculations about it, but the fact is that all those things that I told you, those kinds of negatives, they were not a part of why I was terminated. But I went on to work on the campaign, and we did the very best that we could out of that. But the work and the legacy that I left, both at NCA and at GIFEC, are there for all to see.
Right, I'm still here with Prince Sefah, who is a former director of GIFEC, and also he used to also work with NCA, and also a core member,
the CEO of GIFEC.
CEO.
Right.
I mean, yeah, let me say CEO of GIFEC, and also worked with the NCA, and also a very core member, team member of Bawumia's campaign team, with his focus on the Eastern region, which he believes 24 out of 25 was the best
parliamentary seats
across the country. I'll come back from this break and we'll be talking more. Another problem is that the NCA now has shut down 6 media houses. We had the same thing happen back then. What's the difference? What could even amount to these things? Even though they are giving us explanations, we want more. We'll talk after this. Stay with us. And thank you so much for staying with us here on 101. My guest tonight is the former Chief Executive Officer of GIFEC, Prince Sefah. We'll be talking everything communications, including his office and tenure at the outfit. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Anyways, let's now talk about NCA. I mean, previously when some of the stations were shut down, there were lots of speculations. From witch hunting to NTA saying, listen, it's a matter of legalities and all that. Tell me, what really was the issue? You mentioned to me at the time where it was done, you didn't have any direct, hand in it, but it was still there, so probably might have some idea about it.
As I told you, it had to do with license conditions that were not met. It's as simple as that. So at times you may have a new government. Okay, what happens at times is rules may be relaxed for one reason or the other. Maybe there were stations that were in violation, and for one reason or the other, they were being treated with kid gloves and sweetheart deals and other things. It's possible. But ultimately, we all say that we are very much interested in the rule of law. So if we are interested in the rule of law, we often say in Ghana here that let the institutions work.
Exactly.
So if the institutions are working and they are doing what they are supposed to do because somebody didn't meet, they didn't pay their license fee on time, they didn't do A, B, and C, and the regulator said that you should do it, all right? Especially if one is able to show that these institutions are given a reasonable period of time to comply, and they don't, then what do you want? You want them to just continue to let them, these institutions violate the rules and regulations? I don't think so. I don't know the specifics of these current ones because I'm not there to know these details right now, and I haven't delved into the details. All I'm saying is we need to be careful as a people to not politicize everything. Okay? So previously, one will look at it. The current president, I believe, gave a whole press remarks about this issue. All right? And the current minister also did the same. And they said that it was witch hunting and all that. Maybe I am the wrong person to ask what I think. You should try to ask them what they were thinking when they were saying those things. Was it justified? And what they have done now, is it justified? I'm guessing that they believe it's justified now. So why wasn't the benefit of the doubt? And we're seeing so many of these things where things that were being said against the previous government are happening now. In some cases, happening even more so. And yet, people are quiet. The so-called CSOs are quiet. Many people are already quiet. I guess it must be a honeymoon time.
Right. We can also speak about the. I mean, recently we hear a lot of revocations, a lot of asked to go homes, and all that. How do you react to these things?
Again, it's the same thing. I remember at the NCA, we had some people that had been hired in the latter parts of the government as well. And we didn't send people home. I remember this vividly.
At the NCA?
Yes, we did. I remember this vividly because I had some discussions with my DG when I joined. I joined in April of 2017. And we had discussions around this. I remember my DG telling me, you know, Prince, let's make sure that we follow the rules and do the right thing because you won't be here forever.
What were the rules at the time?
The rules were these people were regularly hired. They were hired according to the rules, even if late. They were hired according to budget approvals and what have you and other things. So when these things were looked into, they seemed to be, at least according to the technical advice, they were proper by the previous government. And we didn't terminate anybody. So if the NDC now wants to go terminating people, including people that were hired well before the elections and all that, it's up to them. I think if the government, if the courts and other more, let me watch my words carefully, but cooler heads don't correct this, then it will just lead naturally to tit for tat. And governments are changing very fast. We just saw in Germany that the previous government was in there 3 years, and now the CDU is back. After 3 years, they are back. So governments right now, because the world is in upheaval right now, there's a global instability, for lack of a better word, political instability, not necessarily coups or anything like that, but at least there's a lot more political instability going on around the world, all over the world. Governments are losing, governments are going out, and then they're coming back. Trump lost 4 years ago, he's back after 4 years.
We can say same with GM and the
JM as well wasn't out that long, and he's back. You see, so let's all watch the behaviors that we're exhibiting today. Let's go according to the rules. If people have been hired regularly and according to the laws, and within budget, and budget ends in the calendar year, 31st December. Okay, so if we have governments releasing letters, official memos saying that people hired up to December 7th should be sent home, the budget doesn't end on December 7th. The budget ends December 31st. And if approvals were in place and the necessary clearance were in place and all that, you see with the previous transition, 2017, our senior minister, most respected senior minister at the time, someone who had given so much of his life to Ghana back in the day. He was one of those people that helped us lead us to the World Cup for the first time and all that. He did so many good things, in case some people forget. And I know him to be someone who is so biased for competence. In the MPP...
He is biased towards competence.
Absolutely. In the MPP, if you had some competence and you were looking for someone to give you a leg up or help, it was Honorable Sefah. Okay? So, yes.
I believe you benefited. Did you?
I don't want to talk about myself too much, but I know.
No, I mean, this is a very friendly question. Did you benefit from the lift up? Did you?
I have.
Great.
All right. But I like to just keep it a bit light and not so personal.
I mean, I think you appreciate.
I appreciate.
You remember what he did
I
for
appreciate.
you.
But that's why I'm talking about it.
Right.
But he's someone who has helped a lot of people in terms of people who didn't even know him, but just had competence, and then he gave them leg up and support. So, yes, he talked about the fact that it was concerning the number of hires that were happening last minute in the previous, first John Mahama government and all that. And it's fair. But when people sat down and looked at the rules and all that, the right things were done, and people were not terminated incorrectly, as far as I know. At least the laws and the courts didn't say so.
Right.
So there may have been some that were not regularly done. And if they were not regular, and so they didn't take effect, that one is the way it's supposed to be. But if people have gone through the processes, which to me includes budget approval, clearance, and so on, and processes are all right, then we do this summary terminations. It's wrong. It's wrong. And if this doesn't get fixed up or reversed, I'm sure that further corrections will be made if the MPP also gets that opportunity, and it won't be good, for Ghanaians in general. So let's all speak up and make sure that rules are respected and people are not terminated. In fact, the current president himself said that people shouldn't be afraid. When he comes, he's going to keep them and he's just going to add to them. So what changed?
Right. Anyway, let me allow you to sip for some water and I'll come back to you. We are going to talk about Ghana's ninth parliament. Interesting things happening. The arrest of an MP in Eskomia of Okotia. Let's talk about what happened during voting. Let's talk about banter between Afenyo Makin, who is the minority leader in parliament, and also that of the NDC majority in parliament and all that. A lot in the ninth parliament in a very short period. What do you make of this? Let me make it very light.
Make of
the happenings in parliament.
The happenings,
yes,
in general.
In general. Then we can actually take our time and break it down.
Oh, I mean, as for parliament, for me, most of the things look like how they have been. They sometimes have some heated things. It's not the first time that we've seen, some heated exchanges happen in Parliament. I think in the 8th Parliament, we saw quite a bit of that. And there were instances where the then minority also had some issues and were quite aggressive with their actions. We've also seen some of that in the 9th Parliament. But all in all, what I see is a parliament that is trying its best to move the country forward. I hear it's very surprising that often the parliament, the 9th Parliament, is having a problem having quorum. Right? And, speculations are abound right now as to how that is so, because the majority has a very big majority. And so it's surprising that they can't muster the basic minimum numbers that they need to have quorum. It's shocking. So that one is for them to answer.
Don't you think Parliament's game is a whole different ballgame altogether? But it doesn't really matter the numbers you have on your side. I mean, don't you think so?
Oh, it matters the numbers you have. I'm sure it matters. But it's how you also use it. That also matters.
Exactly.
Right? So the numbers matter. I won't sit here and say that, if you don't have the absolute numbers you need, then technically that will be an issue. But beyond that is the qualitative work. If you look at the work that the Honorable Minority Leader is doing and his team, people are calling them super minority and so on. Some are calling them
micro minority.
I don't like using that word too much, but
I mean, you felt proud saying super minority. The NDC says they are micro minority.
That's we're all entitled to our various perspectives. But the fact is, they're doing a great job. The minority leader is doing a great job. He's really showing his acumen. He's showing that he's a businessman. He knows how business works. He's showing his skill in terms of how to skillfully manage a situation to reinvigorate a situation where the party has had this surprising low number of MPs and so on. I'm just proud of it. What else can I say? I think all Ghanaians can see that the minority, with the numbers that they have, are doing a good job of making sure that the government is held to account. And I think that's all that we can ask for at this point.
I mean, if I could remember, you mentioned proud for about 2-3 times. I mean, are you proud of the outgone MPP administration?
If I'm proud of the outgone MPP administration, I am proud of the positive achievements that we were able to achieve on behalf of the people of Ghana. All right. As I mentioned to you, I don't believe that it's my job to come in and give some percentage assessment of the previous government and all that, because I was a part of it. And I believe it's more proper for other independent observers to do that. So I won't get into trying to grade my own government and so on. But I can say some of the positive things that we did. Remember, Ghanaians often, our short-term emotions is not necessarily aligned with our long-term thinking. Okay.
Short-term emotions are not aligned with our long-term thinking.
Right. Or our
explain that to me.
long-term perspective. Okay? Because our long-term perspective is usually a lot more accurate than usually our short-term emotions. Yes. Okay. So you don't believe me? Well, not too long ago, look at some of the things we have seen in the past when President Kufuor's government was coming to an end. All right, Bright, you're young. I'm a bit older than I look. I'm 50 years. But I can tell you that I remember vividly when President Kufuor was leaving, the sentiment was that they have stolen all our money, they have taken our gold to Dubai. The former president, blessed memory, JJ, was calling, who seemed to have a bit of a personal beef with President Kufuor, as many people attest to, was calling the former President Kufuor some names that I don't want to mention here and all that. The sentiment was negative, at least in the last year of the president. And that was in part why the MPP lost the election in 2008. Fast forward, everybody just praises the former president as very skillful, very wise, very great temperament, intelligent, and a great manager, right? That's the perspective. So with Ghanaians, short term, they will say all kinds of things. When Nkrumah was overthrown, I wasn't born then. But I'm told, and I've seen evidence that showed that Ghanaians had never been happier. Never. Not even during the Let the Blood Flow period of Rawlings's ascent to power in 79 could match that. They were celebrating everywhere. Statues were falling left, right, and center. And Nkrumah was called Sasabronsam. I don't know if you've seen on social media.
I mean, there were flyers, there were placards.
Yes.
That had some written on it and all that.
Yes. Sasabronsam was gone because there were some hardships at the time. There was economic hardships in and around, per the history, I think from around 64 to 66 when the coup did actually take place. Because Nkrumah had done so much in terms of infrastructural investments and other things, which we enjoy today. So at the time, everybody said that he couldn't pay worker salaries and so on. If you really delve into the history, you will see that there was short-term economic difficulties, and he tried to get an IMF program, and that wasn't going too well. So Ghanaians were really fed up, and they couldn't wait for him to be gone. Today, you can't say anything bad against Nkrumah, not even some of the shortfalls which are documented, whether it's the PDA that you're discussing or what have you. People only want to hear the positives about Nkrumah, right?
Let me ask you this question.
So
It's
I'm
fine.
just saying the conclusion is that short term is as if the government didn't do much. But long term, we know that lots of hospitals have been done. We know lots of interchanges have been done, lots of bridges, lots of airports, lots of road network.
So you believe that with time,
the drip
so
machines.
you believe that with time,
let me just finish.
I'm coming. So you believe that with time, we don't have much time, forgive me.
Okay.
So you believe that with time, the just outgone president, Nana Danko Kufuor, will be seen as a savior?
I won't say that because, again, I refuse intentionally to assess my own government.
I'm saying you, because I'm asking that due to your analogy you just gave, the short term and the long term. And I'm asking you, do you believe that with time, in long term, Ghanaians will come to accept to understand that he was a good president? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that the perception right now may not necessarily be the perception down the road. We have to give it time.
So with time, Ghanaians will believe it?
No. I'm not trying to tell people what to think. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm just saying that I'm only giving you history because history is often a guide.
Right.
But let's allow history to reveal itself and then we will look at it. The government had some challenges. I even mentioned to you there were some issues with strategic communication that I saw, all right? So the government wasn't perfect.
Right.
But you just allow time, okay? I can force it in into Tunkrani.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I'm a what?
Thank you so much.
And
do you know interesting part of all this?
Yeah.
Today is exactly 59 years since the coup happened.
Wow, okay, all right.
It's 24th of February.
Wow.
So it's 59 years since the coup happened.
Right.
It happened in 1966. So, I mean, we actually ended the conversation on that note. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful.
All right.
And so I've been here with Prince Sefah, who is the former Chief Executive Director Officer of GIFIC. And he's been here speaking to us about all that he did in office, I mean, what he stood for, what he stands for, and what he believes in coming in the future. Thank you so much. We're grateful.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for watching us. And see you again next time. I am Bryce, and I'll see you. Have a good night.